What's all this working hard really going to get you? Or better yet, what's all this working smart going to bring into your life? You've learned to set goals, to map out a game plan, and to use the tools of reflection and discipline to shape your journey. You're building your ambition step by step, moving toward the destination you've set your sights on. Now, let's be honest, somewhere along that journey, I'm willing to bet you wrote down wealth as one of your goals. Now, did you write down that you wanted to scrape by to just make ends meet? Probably not. You likely set a number for yourself, a financial target that felt both challenging and possible. For some, that number might be $50,000 a year. For others, it's $500,000, $1 million, or beyond. The number isn't what matters. What matters is that you wrote down what you believe you can earn if you truly push your potential. If you harness everything you've got over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 5 years, or even 10 years. And that number for most would be considered wealth. So what does all that ambition get you? What's the reward for setting your sights high? I'm not just talking about the feeling of satisfaction, the inner glow of achievement. No, I'm talking about the tangible rewards of your ambition. How wealthy should you be? In knowledge and spirit? And yes, in dollars and investments? The answer is simple: as wealthy as you possibly can be. That's the goal. But let's make something clear. We're not talking about greed here. No, we're talking about being compensated for your success, about serving others and being rewarded for it, not taking advantage of anyone along the way. Is it okay to strive for success, to build wealth, to become rich? Absolutely. Yet many struggle with the idea of becoming rich. They think wealth automatically means a loss of values, a lack of morality. They see rich people as ruthless, dishonest, and uncaring. Now, sure, some rich people do fit that description. But let's not fool ourselves. You'll find the same traits in plenty of people who are struggling financially. Greed and corruption don't belong to the rich, they belong to anyone who seeks gain at the expense of others. Corruption is the problem, not wealth. Wealth itself. Wealth simply says recognize your gifts, nurture them, and allow them to serve you in return. I believe it's part of our natural destiny to grow, to succeed, to prosper, and to find happiness along the way. That's why I don't shy away from the idea of becoming rich or wealthy, but I found a phrase that might sit better with you. It's about becoming financially independent. That sounds a bit less intimidating, doesn't it? It's not about throwing away your values or misusing people. It's about making sure your financial situation doesn't control you. Financial independence is the freedom to pursue your purpose while taking care of your needs. And that's something worth striving for. If the idea of being rich rubs you the wrong way, then don't chase after it. But let me tell you, that's a weak excuse or rationalization used by those who aren't willing to put in the effort. It's the kind of excuse you hear from people who need to justify why they haven't made progress, from those who fold at the first sign of adversity, or worse, never even get started. But here's the real deal. Financial independence, the ability to live off the income of your own personal resources, is a far more empowering goal. That's what I call true financial independence. Now, one part of the equation is deciding how you want to live. Some people have big dreams, big projects, and big plans, so yes, they'll need millions. But what if your ambitions and dreams required you to be wealthy? What if becoming rich was the price of entry to do all the things you've set your heart on, to travel, support causes, and fund projects that matter to you? If that's the case, wouldn't you want to know how to get there? The good news is that there are countless books, resources, and experts out there that can show you how to become rich. But here's the thing. If you don't think you need to be rich, you probably won't pick up those books, let alone apply what they teach. Some people don't need much, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that. Some lead simple, modest lives, content with less. But the idea of financial independence, the ability to someday live off the income of your own personal resources, that's something I believe should be within reach for everyone. It's part of the American dream. Imagine that. The freedom to live life on your terms without being controlled by a paycheck, without worrying about next month's bills. That's a freedom of the most exciting kind, financial independence. Now, to achieve this, let's first settle this money question. If you've made peace with the idea that it's okay to be rich, and it depends entirely on how you earn it, you're already on the right path. It's all about success at the service of others, not at their expense. Wealth comes by providing value, by rendering service that benefits others. Everyone has to decide where they stand on this, but if you're ready to pursue financial independence, let's dive in. Here's step one. It starts with your philosophy. The philosophy of the rich. You see, rich people have a simple approach. They invest their money first and spend what's left. Most people do the opposite. They spend first and try to save whatever might be left over, which is usually very little. But the real difference in your economic future isn't going to be dictated by the economy. It won't be about the stock market, inflation, or taxes. No, the true difference in your economic future is going to come from your philosophy. Too many people make errors in judgment when it comes to their financial philosophy. They say, no, Jim, it's the economy. If only the economy were better, I'd be doing great. But I'm here to tell you, it's not the economy, it's your philosophy that needs adjustment. It's not the size of your paycheck, it's the mindset you bring to handling it. Next up, if you're serious about building financial independence, you've got to keep strict accounts. Know exactly where your money is coming from, and more importantly, where it's going. Don't fall into the, I don't know where it all goes trap. I've heard people say the money just disappears on me, Jim, it gets away from me. No, it doesn't. The truth is, they're not keeping track. So rule number 2, keep strict accounts, and you'll always know the state of your financial house. You see, financial independence isn't some mystical dream. It's a result of disciplined philosophy, careful planning, and precise actions. And the sooner you adopt that mindset, the sooner you'll be on the path to true freedom. It's much easier than it used to be, especially with personal computers and software available in almost every household. With just a few clicks, you can print out exactly where your money is going, broken down by category. And when you've got that information right in front of you, it becomes crystal clear where you're making smart purchases and where you're wasting it. Now, here's the key. Take that money you're wasting, whether it's on unnecessary subscriptions or impulse buys, and redirect it into one of your capital funds. Do that, and you'll reach financial independence even faster. Now, your philosophy about money, how you think about it, how you handle it. But the next step is just as important, your attitude about money. Here's the best attitude you can have. We all must contribute to the cost of living in a free society. We must pay for the privilege of democracy, freedom, free enterprise, and a thriving marketplace. That's the price of admission. I'll be the first to tell you I wasn't always a happy taxpayer. But once I became educated, I saw things differently. I hear people say, well, they misuse the money we pay in taxes. Sure, there may be some waste, but here's the reality. That's not going to make a significant dent in your ability to become rich, successful, and powerful. You can't build your life on the idea that everything has to be perfect for you to succeed. You've got to do your part, pay your taxes, and keep moving forward. And once you've paid your taxes, here's a crucial rule: pay yourself first. I can't stress this enough. Take a portion of your earnings off the top before you pay the bills, before you buy the extras, and invest in your future. Make your investments a priority, regardless of how big or small they are. And before you spend on those little extras, make sure you've given to charity, to something bigger than yourself. It's not just about wealth. It's about building a life of value. Now, here's the balance you need to think about. How you choose to live today directly impacts how long and how hard you'll need to work in the future. If you spend everything you make now, if you live only for today's pleasures, you'll find yourself working longer and harder down the road. No question about it. But if you start putting money aside now, if you invest in your financial future, then you'll have choices later in life. You'll have the freedom to decide whether you want to retire early, travel the world, continue your career, or even start a new one. That's the power of financial independence. It gives you options. And really, it all comes down to choices. You've got to think tomorrow, today. The decisions you make right now are shaping the life you'll live tomorrow. If you can get a handle on your finances today, you'll live better, with more freedom, with more choices tomorrow. It's about setting yourself up for a future where you call the shots, not your bank account, not your paycheck, not your debt. So get serious about your philosophy, get disciplined with your attitude, and make sure you're paying yourself first. Start living for tomorrow while still enjoying today. That's how you ensure that you're building a life you'll be proud of, financially secure, independent, and free. The next thing you need to keep in mind when planning your economic future is this. Be careful with your credit cards. Selling money has become one of the biggest businesses out there. I bet you're getting offers in the mail every month, credit card companies trying to sign you up for their newest card. Now, don't get me wrong, having a couple of credit cards is important, especially if you travel. They're safer than carrying cash, and they make tracking your spending easier. But here's the warning. Be careful. Why is that so important? Because when you swipe that little piece of plastic, you don't feel the weight of your spending. You don't feel the impact until that bill shows up in your mailbox. And if you're not paying attention, those bills can start stacking up quickly. So here's the advice. Make sure that whatever you buy with your card, you're still happy with it when the bill arrives. Don't let credit become the easiest way to slide into debt. Just as you carefully plan your fortune, plan your debt just as cautiously. Now, here's another critical point for your journey toward financial independence. It's not about getting rich fast, it's about getting rich slowly. You've heard of the 70-10-10-10 rule or some variation of it. Whatever percentages you're working with, the key is that this doesn't happen overnight. With smart, conservative investments, it takes time to see those returns. But that's where discipline comes in. You've got to keep adding to your future a little bit every month. Month after month, year after year, you're building your fortune piece by piece. And let me remind you of an old saying about investing. Time, not timing. The idea behind that saying is that it's the passage of time that allows your investments to grow. For most of us, it's not about catching the perfect moment in the stock market, it's about consistency over time. Of course, if you're a stock market expert, you know that timing can play a role, but for the average person, it's time that works the magic. So be patient when building your financial independence. It's going to come step by step, one small advantage at a time. And yes, it's hard to be patient, especially when you want to see results fast, but just like with your ambition and goals, wealth builds one step at a time. Now let's address the elephant in the room. What about those who are born into wealth? Those trust fund kids who seem to have everything handed to them. They get their financial independence on a silver platter. First car is a Porsche, house is a mansion. First job is at daddy's company. What about them? What does that mean for the rest of us, the ones who have to work hard every day, every week, every month to build our fortune? Some folks say it's not fair. Here I am working like crazy, putting in the hours, and I'll never have the kind of money they have. And you know what? They're right, it isn't fair. Inheriting wealth is one of life's unfair advantages. But let me ask you this. What does that really have to do with you? You can spend all your time worrying about what's fair and what isn't, or you can focus on your own goals. If your aim is greater financial independence, if you want to live a life of freedom, then it's time to stop looking at what others have and start focusing on what you can achieve. The more you obsess over someone else's starting point, the less energy you'll have to move forward. So quit pondering about fairness, quit worrying about who got ahead, and start working harder and smarter on your goals, your dreams, and your visions. Here's the truth. What's keeping you back isn't their trust fund or their inheritance. What's holding you back is the time you spend comparing yourself to others instead of working on yourself. So stop looking at what's keeping them ahead and start looking at what's holding you back. Start asking yourself, what's in your control? What's within your reach? What can you change, improve, or fix? Focus on you, not the economy, not the market, not the unfair advantages of others. Look at your habits, your attitude, your philosophy. That's where the real work is. The more you improve yourself, the more your financial future will take care of itself. There are countless stories, examples, and experiences of individuals who began their journey with nothing, absolutely nothing, but who had the resolve to keep going, to push through adversity until they had far more than they ever imagined possible. These aren't just stories of people born into privilege. No, these are stories of people who built their way to the top brick by brick. These are the people worth studying. Learn from those who created their wealth, not those who simply inherited it. Now, imagine if you decided that you had to be rich. Imagine if you tapped into the full power of your ambition and your life began to turn around. What if you got on the right track, started increasing your earning potential, reducing the percentage you spend, increasing the percentage you save, invest, and give away? What if you really went for it? Think of all the benefits that come with that. Financial freedom, security, options. But here's the thing, there's one big reason why many people never reach that level. Why they don't build their ambition, why they don't strive to be the best version of themselves. And that reason is risk. Risk is the great decider. Different professions call for different levels of it, but the truth is, life itself comes with risk. There's an old saying, no risk, no reward. Maybe that's how it works in life. I don't have all the answers. But what I do know is that it's a personal decision how much risk you're willing to take on with your life, your future, and your money. No one else can make that decision for you. You've got to weigh it for yourself. What I do know for sure is that ambition comes in different forms, and each form carries its own reward. The ambition of a salesperson is different from the ambition of a manager. The ambition of a manager or executive is different from that of an entrepreneur. And the ambition of an entrepreneur is entirely different from that of an artist, a scientist, or a teacher. With each type of ambition comes a different level of risk and a different level of reward. Salespeople, for instance, are often more comfortable handling risk than managers and professionals. Why? Because their earning potential is often tied directly to their results. The more they sell, the more they make. So they're more likely to embrace risk. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, must be risk takers. It's a necessity. They put everything on the line in the hopes of achieving their dream. Their ambition has to be strong enough to overpower the fear of losing it all. Because without that level of ambition, the risk would be too great to bear. Now, here's something important to understand. Your level of ambition might not always be tied to your ability to handle risk. You see, most people simply can't deal with the amount of failure it takes to eventually reach success. Even among the most ambitious individuals, only a few have the tenacity, the grit, and the tolerance to handle repeated setbacks and failures in pursuit of a risky dream. But whatever your ambition, whatever the risk level, one thing remains constant: discipline. You've got to have the discipline to push through failure, to keep your eyes on the prize, and to keep moving forward until you reach your goal. Look at Jonas Salk. He didn't just stumble upon the polio vaccine. No, he worked through countless failures, trials, and setbacks, but he kept at it until he succeeded. That's the mindset you need to cultivate. Whatever your level of ambition, keep at it until you reach the finish line. The more risk involved, the more you need to fortify your resolve and see it through. Now, here's another critical piece of advice for those of you pursuing risky ambitions. Make sure you have stability in your personal life. If you've got everything riding on your business, your career, or your financial goals, then you'll want to ensure that things are solid at home. You can't afford chaos in your personal life while you're taking big risks professionally. The more risk you take on, the more important it is to have a stable foundation to fall back on. So the lesson is this: whether you're aiming to be the next top entrepreneur, a groundbreaking scientist, or a successful artist, you've got to be prepared for the risks and setbacks that come with ambition. But more than that, you've got to commit to seeing it through. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep working until you get there. Because that's where success lives. It lives in the space between risk and reward, between failure and persistence. And when you've got the ambition and the discipline to keep going, nothing can stop you from reaching the top. As you begin crafting your own plan for financial independence, as you set your sights on living off of just 70% of what you make, there's one thing to remember. The first step is to define the plan. It doesn't have to be perfect right away, and it probably won't be. But the key is that you're taking those first steps in the right direction. You're beginning to set in motion a system that will work for you over time. Because here's the truth. The money you put away today, whether it's a little or a lot, is the foundation that will help you build your financial independence tomorrow. It's about momentum. It's about consistency. And once you've achieved that financial independence, once your ambition is paid off, you'll experience a freedom like no other. This is the reward of your ambition. Options, flexibility, choices. You'll have the freedom to live where you want to live, do what you want to do, travel where you want to go, and drive what you want to drive. That's the power of financial independence. You're no longer restricted by circumstances. You're no longer tied down by limitations. You have control over your own destiny. But here's something else you need to be prepared for along the way: disappointments. Yes, with success come challenges you may not expect. And one of those challenges is often the people you started the journey with. Not everyone will celebrate your success. One of the inevitable disappointments that come with reaching for all you can be is seeing how some people around you will choose to stay exactly where they are. They will resist change. And when they see you striving for more, they may not cheer you on. Instead, they may criticize you for your ambition. They may abandon you when you begin to achieve more than they ever thought possible. They'll stay behind and whisper, "Well, he's forgotten where he came from. Now that he's doing so well, he's left us behind." And trust me, they'll say more than that. They'll sit together in their comfort zones, in their little circle, and say all sorts of things to justify their own mediocrity. They'll find ways to explain why you've succeeded and they haven't, why you've moved ahead and they've stayed stuck. It's easier to criticize than to confront their own lack of progress. But here's the thing to understand. Those who choose to stay behind have made their own choice. They've chosen the path of least resistance, the path of mediocrity. And that's their decision. You can't drag someone towards success who isn't willing to walk the path themselves. And as you rise above the crowd, you might wish that you could take those old friends along with you, that you could return to those early relationships and lift them up, share with them your ideas of hope and inspiration, help them break out of their ruts. But the sad truth is, it rarely happens. Jealousy is a powerful force, and it builds a wall one so high, so impenetrable, that it's nearly impossible to break down. So as you change, as your life changes, your circle will change too. That's part of the process of achievement. Your friends will change. The people you associate with will evolve as you evolve. And that's okay. It's not a loss. It's part of growth. You can't expect to remain in the same place with the same people when you're striving to become something greater than you were yesterday. As your ambitions grow, so will the need for you to surround yourself with people who share your vision, your mindset, your energy. People who challenge you to be better, not those who pull you down. This is the price of success. It's not just about the money. It's about the ever-changing process of becoming the person worthy of the success you're seeking. It's about understanding that as you elevate your life, not everyone will come with you, and that's okay. You've got to surround yourself with people who inspire you to keep climbing, not those who make you feel guilty for moving forward. That's how you truly achieve financial independence, not just in your wallet, but in your spirit and your mindset. So as you follow your plan, as you work toward your financial freedom, remember this: success isn't just about numbers or bank accounts. It's about evolving into the person capable of sustaining that success, someone who's not just rich in money, but rich in relationships and wisdom and in character. Keep that in mind, and you'll find that the journey is just as rewarding as the destination.